Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the second episode of Fixing Up the Commonwealth, and we are still in County Crossing, strangely enough, because that's where we're building the new settlement, or at least we are building something completely different, as Monty Python would say. So, when you last joined us, we'd kind of got a reasonable amount of work done on the structure. We're going to continue that today and just continue adding bits and pieces. So what I'm trying to work at here is the flow of the building, and this again, if you've watched the channel for a while, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about flow. Even though we're building on various levels, this still needs to all join up and flow through in a believable way. So you'll see in a sec we'll start to put walls and all kinds of good stuff in, and it all starts to come together a little bit more and start to make a little bit more sense. And lots of walls and that kind of stuff that we're going to put in, but the main thing to focus on is not why that's not snapping in, and you can see it just did then, but the main thing is to focus on how I tackle all these different levels in my build and getting them all sorted out. And I probably should, in hindsight, have put these walls in first, because I've now got an obstruction in the way of putting the walls in at the part we're looking at now, because we've put that little area in here, this little hatch here, so we're going to put walls behind it, and the boundary kind of encroaches, well, it doesn't encroach, but it's very close to the front of the building on that side. So anyway, it's just what I do when I'm kind of free building, and so I just, it can cause you problems going forward. But again, a lot of the time when I build like this, I'm not exactly sure what direction I'm going in and how everything's going to fit together exactly. So I just keep building, and I'll fix things off on the fly, whereas some of you are probably saying, well, yeah, it's maybe better to do it the other way around and fix it and then build the internals. But again, it's not how I build, it's probably how I'll never build, and so I just gotta figure it out as I go, basically. So we're going to put some foundations in here. So initially what I do is I put them in here, and then that's going to cause me another issue, because you can see there's going to need to be a step down or something that's going to have to happen there to get that to work. But anyway, we'll put these in like this for now, and we'll come back once we've got them all done. So one thing I want to do is have a very open feel with this building, so I took those floors that I put in out, and we're going to have to come up with another solution for that if I can figure out how to get up the stairs properly. So as you can see, I'm really thinking about the flow. This doesn't really work for me, so I'm going to get rid of it, and I'm actually going to use those fire escapes. But before we do that, we're going to get a level here like this, and we're probably going to need a half floor in there. And this is what I do to just try and get some floors in and figure out all the levels. Now, there actually ends up being an area in here, you'll see it in there, that we're looking at that I have to block in and don't use. But when you see the final build, you're not even going to know that there's a vacant area underneath there that we're not using. So I'm really going through and mapping out this whole area now, and trying to figure out how this is all going to fit. Don't do that to me. I don't know why it does that every so often. We're nowhere near the boundary here. We're quite high up, and you can see, I can see another problem with that that wall. That wall is going to be my nemesis for this whole build, so I will get rid of those floors a little bit later. But I just spotted that, and it allows me into this false sense of security where I think that may be what's causing it not to scrap. Well, no, it's not. Okay, let's keep going with the build and not get too obsessed with that particular item there. Okay, so we'll just do the running back and forward, try and figure out what we want to do here. As I said earlier, I wanted to make sure that this has a very open feel about it. So initially what I think of doing is putting these fire exit or escape things in. I'll actually end up taking one of those out. You seen earlier I actually put something here, but this actually fits it a little bit better. We'll wedge it up against, come on, come back. I'm going to wedge it up against the wall. Push that across. Go on. That's it. Cool. Yep, that works. And you can see we're starting to get somewhere as far as how the building is all going to fit together, how it's all going to flow, as I'm demonstrating here. Yeah, okay. So that's just, if you've watched me for a while, you know exactly what that is. That's just thinking time to try and figure out the next move I'm going to do. So more and more kind of buttoning things up, if you like, putting these railings on, seeing how it's going to work. I actually end up extending this platform we're standing on here a little bit further out in the final build, but I don't think I show you it in any of these build videos. And yeah, no, I think it works very, very well here for the overall look we're going for. For some reason I've put double one. Oh, I see why. Yep, okay, cool. There we go. All good. Can you see the vision yet? Hopefully you can. Okay, so given that we've got some different levels happening here, it has presented a bit of a problem on the front fascia, or the front of the building here. As you can see, there's a bit of a gap that we have to solve. Now, this is initially what I used to fix it, but it's not what I end up going with in the final build. Like a normal, I'll leave this kind of stuff in because I think if you're doing your own builds and you're trying to figure this stuff out, then this might well be useful because it's the right height. You can see it just fits in there nicely, even though it's being a bit of a pain in the you know what as far as snapping in. One of the things you could do actually is just snap it to the top and then snap one underneath to stop that happening, but you're doing double the work. So I just persist here, and it's good to know that pieces or items that are that kind of warehouse stroke barn wall size will actually fit in here, so it's good to know. Like I say, I end up finding another solution because I do a little bit further building and that just doesn't look right to me, but for now it's fine. It kind of serves the purpose of what I need it to, and it tells me some information that I can get a piece to fit in there if I need to, because I'm going to put a wall above that as well. There are going to be a few more challenges here though to go yet, and especially around there. Does give me some issues, and so like I said, whenever you're building something custom like this and you get lots of different heights and whatnot, it's always a challenge to try and get this all to work together. Now I'm interested to know, I know there's a number of you out there that watch the channel that actually use Creation Kit. I mean, in Creation Kit, can you make custom sizes as far as walls, so you don't have these issues? I'm not quite sure if you can get around this by altering the kind of size of certain pieces and stuff like that, but it would be nice to be able to do that, but I don't think that's very practical. So we'll just persist with what we've got like that. So again, I'm trying to visualize all this. How's it going to work? I don't necessarily want this to be just like a huge box. I want it to have some character about it, and hence you see we've got these little areas that we're making, like little steps and whatnot, and varying the overall look of the building. And if you've seen some of these buildings in Fallout 76, you'll know this is kind of what they do as well. They have different sizes, and we will use these spaces, these kind of ledges like there. We will be using them to add stuff in to make the building look a bit more believable. But I think it's much more interesting to add those kind of weird and wonderful different levels and little areas rather than just, you know, put straight walls up and it be like a big rectangle or a big box. Sounds like the wind is picking up here. You can see I'm eyeballing and grimacing at that wall again. Okay, so we're doing okay so far here. So this is the beauty about doing these builds too. I look for it forces me to look through the mod that I'm using, Snappy Hashkits, and just see if there's anything else I can use there. So that's a single wall. So I know I've got a single door there that will fit in there. Now, I think the reason I'm doing this is so I can get a wall to snap off that, and then I'll take that half wall out. But what I wanted to measure is whether I could actually put a doorway in there, which I can, which is going to be useful much later in the piece. So this area here is going to be a room as well, and so it will serve a purpose a little bit later. I end up taking these out because not that one, but the floors that are sitting there, because I wanted to have again that open feel, and you know, these little refinements are what make it a heck of a difference. So we're going to take that out like that, and that then makes it feel like a gantry or a walk-through area. I have spent a lot of time in my lifetime in factories and mills and all kinds of stuff where I've had to go across some of these gantries very high up, which, if you get to know me, you know that's not good for me because I don't like heights. And yeah, but that's where I can draw my experience and my vision from, as far as a lot of these kind of walkways and fire escapes and whatnot that we've got in this building. Oh, you can see again there are gaps that need to be filled up there, and this is what I was saying about before. This actual bit that we're putting these walls in, there is a whole room there that I could have, and I still kind of wonder if I could use that. It's like a little secret room. We could potentially put some access to that area from the outside only in there. Let me know what you think, because it is a reasonable height in there, but at this point we've just boxed it straight up, and it's not a usable area. But again, that's just one thing that sometimes you have to do when you're building. You know, if you've watched Fixing Up the Commonwealth for long enough, that I like to use as much of the usable space as possible, but sometimes it's just not practical. So there's still a gap there. I do end up sorting that out a little bit later. Now, here is the happy accident for this episode. And it kind of talks to what I was saying before. I was playing around with Snappy Hashkits, and I suddenly came across this parking garage, and these ramps are going to be perfect for what I'm going for. So the only problem that I actually face is I have to angle them down a little bit. The ground's not being kind to me here, so I'm going to have to use Place Anywhere to just nudge that down and nudge it into position, so that we can get a little bit of a ramp on the outside there. I do have a good look around and see if I can find something that fits there better, and there we go, and it actually snaps for me, which is a win. The second one's a bit more finicky, but it does eventually snap into place. So, and that forces me to make some changes to the front of the building as well. Just move that out of the way, just in case it's causing that problem. And actually, we end up having to move the map fruit as well around the back of the shack that the settlers have as well, just in case that is part of the problem. So that will snap in there. It does snap eventually. It just takes a bit of time, and you know, when you playing and building in Fallout for a while, it likes to tease you. It likes to do these kind of things to you. Lots of interesting pieces in here, though, as you can see. And I must admit, I have never thought about building a parking structure in this game, but maybe that's something for a future build video. I don't know. We will see. Here we go. If you've watched my my Raider build, maybe we could build a super muty build with well, a parking structure or something. I'm not sure. We'll just get that a little bit closer to the building. And again, that's those weird angles that you get for Fallout 4. That one seems to be okay. And yeah, we're starting to really get somewhere now. I like the way this is heading. I really do. This is really starting to work towards what I had in my head when I first started this build. So the last thing I'm going to show you, because it's about to get dark, and I've tried to brighten up this footage as much as possible so you can still see. Again, just have a good look through. It doesn't have to be Snappy Haskets, but whatever mod that you have, just have a look through and see what it offers. You see, I find these subway walls, and they kind of sort of work in this environment and in this building. It takes a bit of figuring out how they snap, but it will actually enhance the overall look, and it will sell the look of this building for me. So that's something that normally I would just not. I just probably ignore, saying, oh yeah, it's subway, yeah, why would I use subway walls in a build like this? But it actually does work. Now if you get a piece doing this, it's spazzing out, delete it and put a new piece in, because let me tell you, you're not going to get it back in there. It's something that's happened more recently, maybe in the last 6 or 8 months. I've noticed happens a lot now, for me at least. So I can never get that to work. So the best thing to do is just to get a new set of ladders and drop them back in. You can fight with that for a while, and it won't work. So luckily that snaps back in. I was scared that might have been a build order thing, but it wasn't. You see, there's a little bit of clipping in those walls, but it's not too bad. So we're going to continue on with these subway walls across the that other wall, and then we're going to finish up for today, and then you can come back in episode 3 and we will finish this build in the 3rd episode, and you'll get a good look around, because I do a heck of a lot of decorating to this building to bring it up to where it needs to be. And there is a wee surprise coming up in the 3rd episode as well, so come back next week and have a good look. You'll get to see something a little bit different with this build. So there we go, just drop these in just like that. And we're done for the day, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for coming and watching Fixing Up the Commonwealth. I know a lot of you really enjoy it and get a lot of ideas from it. And we'll catch you next time on Gaming for XP. See ya.